Hello, my name is Elena, and I want to share with you a story that changed my life forever. It's about love, trust, and the importance of making the right choices, even when your heart wants something different. I work in a modern office building in the city center. The glass walls and open spaces make it easy to notice new people. And that's exactly how I first saw Alexander, our new project manager who joined our company last spring. Our office is on the 10th floor, and we have beautiful views of the city. Every morning, I come to work early to enjoy my coffee while watching the sunrise. This peaceful morning routine helps me start my day with positive energy. Alexander was tall, well-dressed, and always carried a leather briefcase. He had a warm smile that made everyone feel comfortable, and his British accent, which he got while studying in London, made him stand out from our other colleagues. I remember the first time he spoke to me. It was a Monday morning, and I was having trouble with the printer. Alexander came over and helped me fix the paper jam. His kindness and patience impressed me right away. Every morning after that, Alexander would stop by my desk to say hello. He always had interesting stories to share about his weekend adventures or funny situations from his previous work experiences. His visits became the highlight of my mornings. My colleague Anna noticed how often Alexander came to my desk. She would smile knowingly whenever she saw us talking. "He seems very interested in our department," she would say with a playful tone in her voice. Soon, Alexander started bringing me coffee from the fancy cafe across the street. He remembered exactly how I liked it: a latte with an extra shot of espresso and a touch of vanilla syrup. These small gestures made me feel special. The cafe where he bought the coffee became our special place. Sometimes we would meet there before work to share breakfast and talk about our plans for the day. The morning sun would shine through the big windows, making everything feel magical. We began spending our lunch breaks together in the office cafe. Alexander was interested in art, just like me, and we could talk for hours about exhibitions, movies, and books. It felt like we had known each other for years. Other colleagues started noticing our connection. Some would smile when they saw us together, while others would whisper when we passed by. I tried not to pay attention to the office gossip. Alexander told me about his childhood in a small town. He shared stories about his dreams of moving to the big city and becoming successful. His determination and ambition were very attractive to me. One rainy evening, Alexander offered to drive me home. The weather was terrible, and I gladly accepted his offer. During that ride, we talked about our dreams and hopes for the future. It felt so natural and comfortable. After that first ride home, Alexander started offering to drive me regularly. We would take different routes each time discovering new parts of the city together. These car rides became our special time. I started looking forward to these evening drives more than anything else. Alexander would play his favorite music, and we would sing along to old songs. Sometimes we would stop for ice cream or coffee on the way. Our relationship gradually moved beyond the office walls. We started meeting for coffee on weekends and taking walks in the park. Alexander showed me parts of the city I had never seen before, and each moment with him felt magical. We visited art galleries together on Saturdays. Alexander knew a lot about modern art and would explain different styles to me. His passion for art made me see paintings in a new way. One weekend, we went to a small cafe that had live music. Alexander asked me to dance, and we swayed to the soft jazz music. It was a perfect moment, or so I thought at the time. The turning point came after we went to see a new French film at the cinema. As we sat in a cozy cafe afterwards, Alexander became unusually serious. He had something important to tell me, he said, and I could see worry in his eyes. The cafe was quiet that evening, with only a few other customers. The soft background music couldn't hide the tension in Alexander's voice as he prepared to speak. Alexander confessed that he was married to a woman named Veronica. They had been together for 5 years, but he claimed their marriage was unhappy because they had grown apart and had different interests in life. I sat there in shock, unable to speak. The hot chocolate in front of me grew cold as I tried to process this information. All our beautiful moments together suddenly felt different. I felt like my world was crumbling. All those wonderful moments we shared suddenly felt different. I couldn't believe he had hidden such an important truth from me for so long. My hands trembled as I held my coffee cup. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the signs I might have missed. The way he never talked about his personal life at home. How he always chose places far from his neighborhood for our meetings. The next few days at work were difficult. I tried to act normal, but every time I saw Alexander, my heart would hurt. I started taking different routes to my desk to avoid passing by his office. A week later, fate played a cruel trick on me. While shopping at the hypermarket, I saw Alexander with his wife. Veronica was beautiful, elegant, and seemed very successful. They were choosing wine together, looking like a perfect couple. I hid behind a display of cereals, watching them. Veronica was nothing like the cold, distant person Alexander had described. She was smiling, touching his arm gently, and they looked very much in love. That sight made my heart ache. Veronica wasn't the cold, distant person Alexander had described. She was laughing at his jokes, touching his arm gently, and their shopping basket was full of ingredients for what looked like a romantic dinner. I left my shopping cart in the store and rushed home. The whole way back, I couldn't stop thinking about Veronica's happy face and how wrong it was for me to be involved with her husband. I needed someone to talk to, so I called my best friend, Elena. We met at our favorite cafe, and I told her everything. Elena listened carefully, then asked me one simple question. Would you want to be in Veronica's place, always wondering if your husband is being truthful? Elena reminded me of my own values and principles. She talked about her aunt who had gone through a similar situation and how it had affected her whole family. That question kept me awake for several nights. I thought about my own values and the kind of person I wanted to be. I remembered how my mother always taught me that our choices define who we are. I spent the weekend alone, thinking about my situation. I went for long walks in the park, sat by the river, and tried to listen to my heart and conscience. The decision didn't come easily, but I knew what I had to do. I couldn't be the reason for breaking up a marriage, regardless of how Alexander described it. I deserved a relationship built on honesty from the very beginning. I wrote down my thoughts in my diary, trying to find the right words to explain my decision to Alexander. I wanted to be clear and firm, but also kind and understanding. I asked Alexander to meet me in the city park. It was a sunny autumn day, and the golden leaves seemed to be witnessing our final conversation. I had prepared what I wanted to say, but my heart was still racing. We sat on a bench near the fountain, the same place where we had shared so many happy moments. Now it would become the place of our goodbye. I explained to Alexander that I couldn't continue our relationship. I told him about seeing him with Veronica at the hypermarket and how that moment had opened my eyes. I deserved someone who would be proud to be with me openly. Alexander tried to convince me that his marriage was truly over, but I stood firm. I told him that if that were true, he should sort out his relationship with Veronica first, before involving someone else in his life. He tried to take my hand, but I pulled away. I needed to stay strong and clear about my decision. This wasn't just about him or me. It was about doing what was right. The hardest part was walking away from the park that day. Each step felt heavy, but I knew I was walking towards a better version of myself. Sometimes the right choices are the most difficult ones. The next day, I went to my manager and requested a transfer to another department. I explained that I needed a change, and she was very understanding. Living with my decision wasn't easy at first. I requested a transfer to another department at work to avoid daily encounters with Alexander. My colleagues were understanding, and my boss supported my decision. My new department was on a different floor, and the change of environment helped me heal. I made new friends and focused on developing my professional skills. Months have passed since that day in the park. I've learned that true love should never require you to compromise your values or hide in the shadows. It should lift you up and make you proud of who you are. Sometimes I still think about Alexander, but not with sadness anymore. That experience taught me valuable lessons about self-respect and the importance of staying true to my principles. Spring has come again, and with it, new beginnings. I'm stronger now, and I know what I want from life and relationships. I'm grateful for this experience because it helped me grow as a person. Now, I would like to ask you to share this story with your friends who are learning English. Your support means a lot to us, so please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. What would you have done in my situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below.